Okay, great. Yesterday I was using her headphones, and that's why I guess it connected to my computer. Anyway, so we're going to talk about why polyvagal theory is so important. So when we live in this ventral vagal state, we feel good, right? We feel good, but more than us feeling good, we have a responsibility for the world to kind of stay regulated. Probably everybody's heard that expression, "Be the calm one in the boat." You know, like if you get cast off a cruise ship and sinks to the ground and you're in the lifeboat, be the calm one in the boat. And this is not always so easy to do. So the more we can learn and kind of flex the muscles of regulating our nervous system, we have the capacity to enter into that ventral vagal state more easily if we practice it. And then, I always think of, I can't remember the quote exactly by Viktor Frankl, but this sense of, one of the most important things we can do is when we have something that happens to us and then we have a reaction to it, the more we can stretch that space out between impulse and reaction, the more we are likely to choose wise action as our response to whatever that thing is that has happened to us. And this is what being in ventral vagal does. It helps us elongate that gap instead of just reacting from kind of a conditioned nervous system state. So practicing it is really important. Learning how to be in that state of ease is really important. So I'm sure everyone's experienced this, where you've been in a moment where you've maybe in the past have lashed out or had some not such perfect response to something, or you wish you had responded differently. And then after learning these things and practicing in your yoga and all the other things that you do, suddenly you have a little bit more capacity in those stressful moments. And that's what we're trying to do for ourselves, but also the responsibility we have for others. One of the greatest gifts we can give to anyone in our lives that we love, or even perfect strangers, is to have a regulated nervous system state. If we can offer somebody else our ventral vagal state when they are not in that state for themselves, it's a blessing, it's a gift. We can kind of gather the troops into that same nervous system state that we are in. So without any words, without even any actions, just our regulation, our self-regulation can support other people. So it's a real gift. And then lastly, before we get started, I just want to read this. So this is a prayer for peace. It's a Taoist prayer for peace. If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there is to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. So come to a comfortable seat and allow your energy to center. So as you walk into your practice, can you have this intention of cultivating a peaceful heart? And maybe it would be better to say, can you cultivate a peaceful nervous system? And, the two really can't be separate. So as you close your eyes and settle your body, feel into that state of relaxation. Allow your shoulders to soften down away from your ears. Align your spine. See if you can get your crown to be on the pedestal of your pelvis. Feel a sense of both grounding, yielding, also that state of expansion, space. So we find the balance here. As you start to attune to what your body feels like and how you are in space, let's notice our breath. And you feel into the fullness of your inhale and the completeness of your exhale. You can enjoy your breath. Hang out inside it for a bit. Try not to rush or be impatient. Try not to lose your attention on the breath. Just pay attention and notice. Maybe your nervous system needs some long exhales to help you relax. Maybe your nervous system needs some hearty inhales to help you invigorate. Let's place your palms together and offer an intention. What's here? What do you need today? Release your hands and let's find our way onto our back. And so as you stretch out and lengthen on your spine, let's cherish this time to be in presence with our own being, mind, body, and spirit. And as you lie down, kind of just take stock. How are you today? What's happening in your body? What's happening in your mind? How about your emotional body? And then when you're ready to move, let's stretch your arms and lengthen them up overhead and feel that deep reach. Okay, and then maybe stretch the right side and then the left side and come into some beautiful opening of your sides. Stretch through your shoulders and feel your spine. Bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a hug. We're rocking a little bit, swaying from side to side. And then circle, roll through your hips here for a bit. Holding onto your knees, go one direction, and then let's go another direction. Feeling into the breath. And let's open up the knees and bring them back in. Find that way of just opening the hip joints, checking out what's here, how are you. Put our feet on the floor, arms straight out to the sides, feet hip width or wider apart. And just start to windshield wiper your knees. And waking up the spine a little bit, your pelvis, your low back. Put your right knee into your chest and stretch your left leg on the ground and have a moment to start feeling your feet move about. Okay, so finding your ankles, your toes, maybe do some circling, some flexing and pointing, some inverting and everting, some wiggling, whatever feels good. Nice good squeeze in that hip. And then let's change sides. Take the left knee into the chest and the right leg long on the ground. Let's roll around in our ankles. So feeling that freedom movement. And release. And stretch your limbs out like a star on the ground. Feeling that big open space, wiggling fingers and toes. And let's take a moment while we're out here in the star with our legs straight. Let's internally rotate our legs and then externally rotate our legs. So, turn your toes in, but all the way from your femur bones, and then turn your toes out all the way from your femur bones.
And just feel a little bit of that, what you're feeling right around the hip joints themselves. And then relax that and bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a hug. Pick up your head, let your back open, and then put your head back down. Now, you might find this to be an unusual place to do some breath work, but let's try this lying down here for a moment. Take your hands on your ears and cover your ears with your little ear flaps. Just kind of press down on that to close your ears, but do it after I tell you what to do so you can still hear me. But we're going to just do some bee buzzing or honeybee breath. There's lots of ways to describe this, but basically we're going to inhale well, and as we exhale, we're going to exhale through our nose and hum on the way out. Closing your ears, close your eyes, have a little bit of that internal space as we do a couple of rounds of this. So let's try 4 rounds of this breath. Take a deep breath in. Done with 4 rounds of that. Take your hands away from your ears. Just experience whatever nerve sensation that's going on inside your head. Let your ears recalibrate a little bit. And we're going to do some windshield wipering of our knees and our head. So drop your knees over to the left, turn your head to the right, and then bring your knees back up. Turn your head to the left, knees over to the right. And one more pass each side. So just know that bee buzzing breath or honeybee breath is very good vagus nerve toning, which is really good for your autonomic nervous system. Part of this tending to and caring for. All right, so stretch out your limbs, reach, reach, reach. And then as you're ready, exhale, knees into your chest. And let's roll to our side and come up onto your hands and your knees. Now, as you find all fours, of course, we'll move through some cat cows because why would you ever go a day without some cat cows if you can, and if you can avoid it, right? So when we do some cat cows, I want you to think about your throat as well. So as you arch your back and lift your tail and lift your head, stick your tongue out, and lift your eyeballs as high up as they will go. For a little bit of lion's breath. And then round the spine. Drop your tail. Now you're home. Nobody's around. Make as much noise as you want in that lion's breath. Make as little noise as you want in that lion's breath. But try to really open up through the neck, the throat, the jaw, the tongue. All right, and then find a neutral territory and start moving the spine around any way you want. You can wag your tail, you can roll around in your hips. Now, you may not need this so much on your yoga mat because it's hopefully a really nice, easeful, safe place for you. But a simple technique that you can do to kind of keep yourself self-regulated. There's many, many things, and I'll, just kind of send out a couple of options. The first is to notice your surroundings. So
if you're an eyes closed kind of person in your yoga practice, try a few times through your practice to open your eyes and notice cues of safety around you. Maybe it's your mat, maybe it's your cat, maybe it's, you know, a plant in your space, or whatever it is that kind of cues you into feeling that grounded, safe space. So kind of vacillate between eyes open and eyes closed. Let's come down to child's pose, so that you have the capacity to both orient to that ventral vagal state, both with your eyes open and shut. All right, let's walk the hands over to one side of the room, or the mat rather, and drop your sit bones down toward the ground. So if you have anchor points like that, and it could be, you know, your wedding band, it could be your hands, it could be anything at all. But if you start to feel like you are moving away from that safe and social place, sometimes looking at something that anchors you can be very helpful. All right, walk your hands over to the other side and open up, drop some weight down into the hips. Breathe deeply. And from our yoga practice, one of the greatest things that we can do to help us regulate our nervous system is be in the body, be in the breath, be in the body. Learn to stay in the body as much as possible instead of traveling up into the mind of the past and future and stories. As you come up to dog pose now, let's find that deep sense of length and space. So we're reaching. And notice, you know, every time you do a pose, especially for the first time on your mat, there's a lot of sensation that arises. So let your mind live inside the sensations that you feel. Be curious about what you're feeling. Feel free to, you know, pedal your feet here. You can get some movement of bending one knee and then straightening it and letting your heel press down and then lift. And as you feel into sensation, be so curious and excited about what you're feeling. Can you attach to the sensation so that you can not, you know, attach in the way that you want something to stay or be a certain way, but rather just to give your mind an anchor point that's within your own body. How's your breath? And let's come down to child's pose again. Settle your hips back down toward your heels. And when you're ready, come up onto all fours. We're going to lift the left arm up in the air. Exhale and slide that shoulder underneath you to come into a twist. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Let's enjoy the movement of our rib cage here. The way our breath feels within our body. Again, noticing sensation, anchoring yourself within your own bodily sensation. The other thing to notice is that sensation changes. Right? So anything that you feel that might be intolerable often will shift. Let's lift that arm up in the air and then place that hand down. And anything that you find that's intolerable, let's go ahead and switch sides. You might just try to explore it a minute. So, you know, again, taking that pause between stimulus and a reaction. You can evaluate, you can be curious. What is the sensation? Why is it triggering to me? Why is it intolerable to me? And then you can make a choice. If it's truly something that's not healthy for your body, you can make a different choice of movement. If it's something that's just uncomfortable or unfamiliar or in some way difficult for you, maybe you can learn to shift your awareness, your attention, your breath, the way you're doing it in order to stay long. Reach that arm all the way up in the air, hand down onto the ground, again, dog pose. As you come into this pose for the second time, let's feel into that reach and length here. Femur bones drawing back. Feel the grounding of your hands and feet and the ability to push off the ground to feel all that space and extension in the body. Notice your breath. Take a step forward, walking forward, come into Uttanasana. Now, perhaps Uttanasana, you need to have some blocks. Maybe your hands are on your legs. Maybe your hands are on the floor. So find the pathway that's right for your body. And bend your knees as much as you need to. You can let your tail wag, your head sway if you want. You can bounce a little bit. Come to a halfway lift, get long in the spine. And then melt. Hold again. Rising all the way up. Bring the arms up in the air, feeling that extension and length. Open up here. Breathing deeply, and then let's cactus, open the arms, feeling your chest open. And then when you're ready, round your spine, forearms come to touch. One more time, enjoy the lift, the openness, open the heart, expand. And then let's cactus, open the arms, and slowly lower your body back. Inhale for a halfway lift, get long and spacious. Exhale and full. Let's step the left foot back, right foot's in front, finding a lunge. Open heart here. Let's bend and straighten the front knee. Remember that we're staying present in the sensations of our body, feeling that flow through our breath. Ground yourself, feel the roots. And when you're ready, rise up. Bring the arms wherever they will go. Lengthen, find space, reach. Breathing deeply. Feel the grounding of your legs. Relax your arms down toward the ground. Back foot comes forward. Pull. A halfway lift when you're ready. Spine is growing. Exhale. And melt back down. Step your other foot back now. Our left foot is in front and our right leg is behind, finding the bend of your knee. Let's move through these postures, bending and straightening your knee, moving with the feeling of breath, being curious about the sensations that you're experiencing. Try to keep your mind's eye on what feels good, kind of attach the mind to the places in the body that you're feeling strong sensation. And let that attachment kind of rove around. Sometimes just anchoring into the strong sensation first is a way to keep the mind in the body. And then you can be curious about the more subtle things that you're feeling. All right, let's come on up, crescent lunge. And as I'm slowly recovering from my shoulder surgery, when I get like a millimeter higher, then I have to kind of readjust and figure out how do I hold that space. So sometimes injuries or challenges that we have can teach us so much about really staying present with body awareness and where our boundaries truly are. Find your breath. And release your hands down. Come to dog pose. Finding the spine, we're reaching and lengthening through the spine. Take a deep breath in, out. And then let's come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady here. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Feel that sense of firmness connecting to the ground. We're going to lower our body forward. Roll the shoulders a few times. Feel that freedom start to come. Inhale, cobra pose. The chest opens, enjoy. Exhale, and melt back down. One more time, rising up. Feeling the heart expand. Exhale, and relax. Come on to all fours. Move the spine around a lot. We're going to hang the right hip or your pelvis over to the right as far as your body can. Let it push out there to the side. And come back. Go all the way over to the other side. Feel that outer hip open a little bit here. And back to center. Curl toes under. Lift to dog pose again. Feeling that beautiful open space. Melt your head. Breathing deeply. Okay, we're going to bring our right foot forward, but first lift it up in the air. Feel that extension and length of lifting your right leg. Maybe stack open the right hip so you feel that sense of space and freedom. And then square the hips again and bring that foot forward. Come to a lunge. Put your back knee on the ground. Open up the hip flexor strongly here. So we're taking our front foot, our right foot forward a little bit more, perhaps, so you feel that long line through your psoas. Inhale and reach your left arm up in the air. Now, I'm using both arms because I have to kind of hold my arm up there, but you might be able to keep your right hand on your knee. Extend and lengthen, and let's find a twist in this pose. So forearm comes to your knee or elbow to the outer knee. Your other hand, your right hand on your thigh to help you lift your spine. Open up the thigh. Come back to the center. Bring your the body back, hands down, lift up to dog pose again. We'll repeat this on the second side. So as you lengthen into dog pose, we're going to lift the left leg up in the air, finding that length and space, and maybe open up. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I did it right. Left leg. Open up the hip. You can bend your knee if you want to, straighten it if you want to. And then when you're ready, square your hips and bring that left foot forward. So we're coming into a lunge on this side. Okay, place your back knee on the ground. Of course, if you need a modification, your knee doesn't have to be on the ground. You can also put a blanket or something under your knee. Coming on up. Okay. Reach the right arm up, up, up in the air, maybe a little over to the side. Just find that length through the front of the belly, the front of the pelvis, that psoas stretch. Ground through your front foot, press your heel down so you stay nice and stable. Turn this into a twist when you're ready. Forearm on your knee or elbow to the outer knee. Use your other hand, your left hand, to press on your knee to help you lift and open the spine. Full breaths. Round again. Let's go ahead one more time to dog pose. Feel that neutral place in your legs. Feel the extension in your spine. Open things up. Come forward into a plank again. Lower yourself down to the ground. Take your arms out wide. Spread your hands. Your arms are wider than your shoulders. Inhale, lift up into a long, wide cobra pose. Stretch your legs. And then relax and melt. We're going to roll over onto our left side. Bend your knees, knees toward chest. Grab onto the front of your right ankle and stretch that leg away. Tailbone toward the knee. So we're not lifting the knee high up. We're keeping the knee in line with the hip, opening up our quads. So keep the pelvis as stable as you can. Tailbone toward the knees, the pubic bone toward the belly. Big breath. And relax that, and let's roll to the other side. We're lying down on our right. Grab onto your left ankle, and we're stretching the left leg. You can always have a block under your head for support if you need it. Tailbone descends, pubic bone lifts. Keep that stable pelvis. Try not to let your knee lift up toward the sky, but instead keep it in line with your opening up your quads. Relax. Let's roll over onto all fours, finding the breath. We're going to come into bird dog here. Right hand is going to lift up in the air, and left arm is going to stretch back behind you. Yet again, another pose I can't quite do yet, but just find what it feels like to have that sense of stability in your center body As your right arm reaches out and your left leg stretches back, take a deep breath in. Exhale, elbow and knee come underneath you to touch. Inhale, bring it out. Exhale, underneath you to touch. Inhale, bring it out. Exhale, underneath to touch. Last time, bringing it out. And then place that hand down, knee down onto the ground, and we'll switch sides. So now our right leg and our left arm are going to be out there in space. Drop into the weight of your shin and your hand on the ground. Integrate your core. Find the glutes, wake things up. Take a deep breath in. As you're ready, exhale, elbow and knee come underneath you. Inhale, bring it on out. Exhale, drawing it in. After 3 of them, place that hand down, wag your tail. You can always come back onto your heels and shake out your wrists, whatever feels nice. Let's go ahead and find our way to standing. You can lift to dog pose and walk your feet forward, or you can just come up to stand, whichever feels nice in your body. Okay, let's get into the legs a little bit more. Turn your toes out, come to a deep squat. Okay, let's transfer some weight from one foot to the other, just letting your hips get used to being in this deep flexion. Extend through your spine. Come on up to stand. We're going to do some flow, moving here. Drop into your right foot. We're going to cross the arms over to the left, rising on up. Getting used to weight bearing through our legs. Pause at the top. And then we'll go the other direction. Over to the left, crossing over to the front. Inhale, lifting up in the air. Pausing at the top and coming down to our goddess pose. Okay. Open up across your chest. You can put your arms anywhere you want. Just kind of we're activating our hips. See if you can get that strength in there. Spin your jar lids of your feet, toes pull back, heels forward. Try to be upright instead of leaning forward. Now pulse here a few times. Doesn't matter how deep you go, protect your knees, your hips, your ankles, but wherever you are, just pulse a few times. Standing up, standing star. We're going to come to triangle pose. Turn your right foot out, extend. Now try to find the extension of your spine in this posture. Breathing deeply, shoulders away from the ears. Stay grounded through that back heel a lot. Feel what it feels like to lengthen from crown to tail to back heel. Are you cherishing the sensations of your body? Are you finding that groundedness that lives from being present in your body? Let's come on up and let's move to the second side. Okay. So bringing the arms out, extend, bring the hand down to rest on your leg or on the block. Shoulders away from the ears. You're light on the block or light on your leg. We're not bearing all of our weight. Move the tail toward the back heel. Feel that extension in both the legs. You know, that front leg is stretching a lot, but open the heart as well. Feel the space from your collarbones at your sternum all the way to your hands. How's the full breath? Up. Turn your feet back to center. Pause here for a moment. Turning our feet out, we're going to do one more, goddess. Lift the arms wherever they go. And then exhale and bring your body down. So don't worry about going super low. Find a place where your knees are happy, your ankles are happy, your hips are happy, and your heart is happy, where you can lift upright. Ground through your feet. Feel the bottom of your feet. Wake them up. And straighten your legs. Heel toe your feet in toward the center and face the front of your mat. Find your breath. Standing back bend here. Open the heart. Both arms lifting high. Feel the sense of a slight leaning back of the heart space. And then exhale and fold forward. Take your feet hip width apart and let your back relax. Wag your tail. Shake your head. Now decide how you want to do a chair pose. We can have a block between our thighs if we want, or feet together, or feet hip apart, whatever feels good. Inhale, arms coming up. I'm going to keep my arms together, but if you can, lift your arms up so you feel that back bend that lives in the posture. Draw your knees back into your hips and ground your legs. Come up onto your toes. Put a pair of high heels on while you're in this posture. Practicing some balance. Gaze somewhere. Find your cue of safety. Find the lifting up. Stay on your tippy toes if you can. Arms coming to the sky. And then heels coming down onto the ground. Take block out if you're using it. Pause here for a minute. Breath in. Full breath. And so moving into a little bit more balance. Drop your right foot into the ground. Our left foot is going to come up on top. Figure four pose. Trying to get into the hips now a little bit. Finding your breath. You can always hold on to something. And if you want, you can reach your arms up over your head so you have that extension. You can put your arms anywhere you want your arms. Draw your knees back, square your hips, breathing well. Maybe you lean forward a little bit without rounding your spine. Maybe you stay up. Come on up, lift your knee, and put that foot down onto the ground. Pause here with 2 feet. Hands down at your sides, find Tadasana. A full breath here, feeling that extension both in and out. And then when you're ready, we'll switch sides. We're going to come onto our left foot. You can always hold some support if you need it. Squaring the hips. Palms can stay together. You can lift your arms up in the air if you'd like. Feel the shoulders move away from the ears. Feel your knees draw back. Full breaths here. Inhale and exhale. And slowly coming up. Reaching upward, put 2 feet on the ground. Pause here for a moment, eyes open or eyes closed. Finding breath. And now reach 2 arms up to the sky, back bend here. Exhale and float forward. Relax your spine, wag your tail. A halfway lift. Melt and fold again. Okay, let's come back to dog pose. Extending through your spine, feeling that breath. Melt your jaw, see if your face can relax. And come forward one more time to a plank. Lower your body down toward the ground. Okay. All right, we're gonna hopefully be warmed up enough for this back bend. Let's grab onto our feet. We're going to come into Dhanurasana. Okay. So grab onto the ankles, front of the ankles. Tailbone descends toward your knees. Pubic bone lifts toward your navel. And go ahead and lift on up into Dhanurasana. Feel the openness across your heart. Spread open your collarbones and breathe. Relax and melt your body. You can put your hands underneath your forehead. Let's windshield wiper our knees left and right. To release that back bend, we're going to come into a twist, scoot toward the right side of your mat. Bring your left knee up high toward your armpit. Stay low in your torso. Just let your hips stretch for a moment here. And we're going to cross the right arm over to the left and twist open here. Let your chest expand. Let your knee leave the floor. Feel the gentle twist. Try not to make it be too huge. Relax the weight of your head. And come back around. Finding breath. Changing sides. Let's bring the right knee up toward the right armpit. Let your back just open up a little bit. Feel that hip stretch. And then when you're ready, we're going to cross the left arm over to the right. And then open up your body into the twist. If you have blocks in the way, just scoot them out of the way. Let your knee leave the floor and enjoy the thoracic spine opening its way. Head is heavy. Breathe well. Background. Rolling onto your belly. Come up onto your hands and your knees. Move your spine around, so be very mindful to release what we've done out of your back. Find your breath. Let's come to child's pose. Allow your spine to melt. Your knees can be close or far away from each other. Your arms can be down or up overhead. We're going to come into pigeon pose, and hopefully, all the hip work we've done plus the back bending work we've done will help you with this variation. Have some support if you need it. We're going to take our right leg in front first. Now, of course, reverse pigeon pose is always available to you if you need it. We're going to stay upright in this posture. So, whatever way you need to be in this pose, we're going to have maybe hands on blocks for a moment, whatever feels good. So as you get into the posture, either put your hands on the floor, or if you prefer, hands on blocks, to feel the extension and the open heart in this posture before we come down. So a lot of times we kind of come straight down into sleeping pigeon, but first let's find the open heart here. Notice your lumbar spine. So can you feel the whole arc of your psoas opening? Can you feel your hips stabilize you? Can you kind of hug your both knees into the pelvis so that you have that support to help your back stay free and not compressed and falling? Feel the heart expand. Now, maybe, just maybe, your arms come off the blocks and up in the air. I'm not going to do that today because my shoulder. And then when you're ready, we're going to lengthen forward into our more traditional variation of this pose. Forehead on a block. Adjust your legs. So if you need your heel closer to your pubic bone or a little further away, find the sweet spot for your hip. Square hips, long spine. Your back toes can curl under or lay flat. What feels better for your knee? Now, not doing the bee buzzing breath again, but that lengthening of the exhale and that internal sensation. So,
Remember how it felt to have your ears flaps closed and your eyes closed, where you were really deeply centered inside. See if you can go there without closing off your sense organs. Stretch out the exhales like you're trying to stretch out the space between an impulse and a reaction. Find your way out of the pose by coming into a seated posture. Swing that back leg forward for a moment. Between the two sides, let's have a moment to center. Find your breath. Let's find the second side when you're ready. You know, if you're protecting joints, just be so mindful. You want to listen to joints, and when your joint talks to you, this is not the time to stretch out the pause between impulse and reaction. That's a clear indicator that something's not right. So you can quickly shift to a different slightly position where you're having no pain in your joint spaces. So check in with your knees, your ankles, your hip joint, your SI joint, your backs, your low back joints, so that you have a sense of freedom and stability. Of course, reverse pigeon is always available. Hands on blocks or the ground. Lift up through your heart. Hug your knees, plug them into the pelvis. So you almost kind of like pop up off the ground a little bit to help you feel that spaciousness in your lumbar spine instead of sinking and falling toward the ground. Can you find the balance between effort and surrender here? And then when you're ready, you can slide your torso forward and come down to the sleeping pigeon. Square hips, wide sit bones, check in with your joints again. Make sure everything's okay. And then feel yourself move into that long space between when you finish your inhale and the end of your exhale. Let's find that long exhale, long gap. You might find that if you lengthen your exhales well, and you can breathe out through nose or pursed lips or whatever feels good, you might find that the bottom of that exhale, the end of the exhale, there's a little pause there. I'm going to hang out just for a moment in that pause. Notice the quiet. When you are ready, you can make a change and shift out of that pose. And again, come to a comfortable seat, maybe sitting up on a blanket or a block for a moment. Now we're going to repeat that breath pattern we did in the beginning, but we're going to add something to it. So now cover your eyes. You can have your hands, your finger pads over your eyes and your thumbs over your ears. Let's do 3 exhales like that. A deep breath in. A humming breath. You've done 3. Just relax in your seated posture for a moment. Eyes open or eyes closed. And a simple twist here. Take your left hand behind you, right arm lifting up to the sky, and place your right hand to the outside of the left knee, twisting. The hand behind you supports that lift of the spine. Back to center. Let's change sides. Lifting that arm up and bringing the hand to the outside of the knee. Finding breath. Back to center. Let's find our way to Shavasana. As you come down onto your back, perhaps you want a little happy baby for a moment or a little rocking. So whatever feels good, you can rock from side to side. You can grab onto your feet. You can do anything that your heart's desire. And as Shavasana comes, perhaps you need some support underneath your knees with a blanket. You can even build a little higher stack by putting your 2 blocks touching at their short ends so they form a long line, and then a blanket up top over them so you have a little makeshift bolster. And check in with yourself. Do you need anything? Is there any posture you need to settle your body? Do you need to get warm? Whatever it is that you need, take the time to do it so that you feel very much at ease when Shavasana lands in your body. Our nervous system really loves this pose, but sometimes Shavasana can be a little scary for some people. We can have a sense of hypervigilance, hard at closing your eyes. And if that happens to you, maybe you'd rather do Shavasana on your side or on your belly, or on your side with your back against a wall or a couch. Maybe you'd like to have some weight over you, put a blanket over your chest. Whatever feels safe and good. Remember, we're always trying to return to this ventral vagal state of safe and social. And if you are not in touch with your body, you're not noticing how things kind of translate into your body, you may not notice when you're feeling a little off from that safe and social. And you might get used to being hypervigilant, or you might get used to having a little anxiety, or you might get used to feeling numb. And if any of those things happen to you, use your practice, especially Shavasana, to return to this sense of safety and sense of presence within your body. Eye pillows can be very helpful too. Allow your limbs to settle, sink down. There's beauty of doing yoga in your own space. This is your safe space. Your body rests within it. Your mind rests within your body.
Begin to breathe deeply. Feel the fullness of your breath in and out. And find some movement in your body, whatever feels good to you. Eventually finding your way onto your side and coming up. Sit as you're ready. Take your time, move slowly. Once you're upright, no rush if you're still working on getting there. Open eyes, closed eyes, whatever feels better. Feel your centered, grounded self. Hopefully find the peace in your heart, the peace in your nervous system. Notice the breath as your best tool. Ready, hands together at your heart. Let's bow and send our love and care, our attention, our energy somewhere, to one person, to a whole community, to a whole nation, to a whole world. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Let's see if I can figure this out.